one or two good ideas, and that pays for your whole membership and all the time and everything that goes into it. Talking to people who are doing it in in the arena, so to speak, like that's where you get your best action from.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have proven that to be the case just in our center.
Mm-hmm.
At a time when my father was still around, he and my brother had different ideas on how to run the bowling center than I did. And so that conflict led me to look in different direction, which is this. And
Mm-hmm.
my dad has since passed away, and to try to get through to my brother on some of these ideas that I have learned from day-to-day activities and talking to
Mm-hmm.
proprietors, going to Bowl Expo every year, going to the summit every year, these gatherings where I'm networking with other proprietors, taking these ideas back to them. We've now implemented those, and we have been making more money in the last 3 years than we ever have. So
Yeah.
it's working, and it works for us, and we see it. I know my brother was skeptical at first, and now he's like, "What else you got for me? What else you got for me?"
Right.
So
Yeah.
hopefully,
Couple
it's
good
going to
ones.
be this guy right here on
Mhm.
my page here. So
Right. Exactly. That's the next one. But you know what? You hit on a very key point, and that is the implementation, right? Because a lot of times we get good ideas, but if we just sit on them or we just say, maybe next quarter we'll get to that eventually, you never see the benefit from it. And you think, I never get anything from these, but you don't do the one extra step to actually put it into practice.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I find a lot when I go visit my proprietors. I roam around the center, just kind of get some ideas. I was in a center yesterday I hadn't been in yet. It was a non-member center. I was fortunate enough to get them in the membership. But what an absolutely gorgeous bowling center. They're the entire decor, particularly even the bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt
Yeah.
like I was at home. It gave me a
Yeah.
home feel. And that's one place I wouldn't have any issues with going and bowling myself for a
Mm-hmm.
night out with my buddies. But I had no idea that this place was that nice. And they've done a wonderful job in the decor and everything that they've done. Um, these owners are in the business every single day working on their business. And I've told people this a couple of times. In the first 6 steps of walking into a bowling center, I can tell if the proprietor is working on his business or
Mm-hmm.
in his business.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and those are the things that, you know, over the years, we worked in our business. Now we're working on our business, and we're seeing a greater profitability, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to stick on that for a little bit longer because I think a lot of people would aspire to that and want to do that. But how do you get over the hump, or what would you recommend to get over the hump to actually make that transition, right? Because working in the business is your day to day. You're grinding it out. What do you think is the key to making that transition?
I think a lot of it has to do with finding really good people to entrust
Mm-hmm.
your business to handle the departments for you, so that you can comfortably leave and do other things. Um, Work on the business, work on the marketing side, try to get group outings, corporate outings,
Mm-hmm.
church outings, to fill those times where your lanes aren't full. In the meantime, you have to have good quality people working at the front counter, in the bar, in the snack shop, have a good mechanic in the back. So I think all of that lends towards really strong onboarding, good training, um, whatever that process is for you in making
Mm-hmm.
that happen. We've had, I would say, above average success in that department. So now that, you know, we need some time off, we can go do something and feel comfortable about because we have good people there that we can trust. So I think it begins there, actually.
Mm-hmm. Talent acquisition.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess you build it up and get better and better people until you can kind of build or get like someone to replace what you're doing, and you kind of build up with them and keep backfilling yourself, reinvest.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I believe, is one of our biggest challenges currently in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just had a meeting with one of my fellow proprietors yesterday who He's scratching his head. He's lost every one of his department heads in the last 3 months, and he's
Mm.
having to work himself when he thought he had it all set up for this upcoming season. He had this department head, this department head, this department
Hmm.
head. He was ready to kind of step away and let the thing run, and now they're all gone. And he's like, "Oh my
Oh,
gosh, what do I got to do?" Right? And
right.
so it's been a constant challenge. Over the last year and a half, we've been hearing a lot of acquisitions from Bolero Corporation to some of our leaders in our industry,
Hmm.
proprietors. And, the average age of a proprietor is probably in their 60s. So
Yeah.
it's time to look for the exit strategy to get out. And if somebody comes by and says, "Here, we'll take over your business. Here's a check to go do what you want to do," more and more of those guys are doing that.
Right.
I believe it's a false image out there in social media world where bowling is dying when they hear a bowling center is closing. The land
Mm.
value is the biggest
Yeah.
element in the reason
Absolutely.
why.
Hmm.
We all love bowling, but when somebody says, "Here's a check, it's time," we're going to take it. Unless you have generation after generation continue that business, um,
Hmm.
that's the number one reason why bowling centers are closing.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree because they're large, and if you started, 30 or some of these are 60 years old, you started in an area, the area grows, and the highest and best use is now, a high rise or a developer comes and cuts you a $10 million check. It's tough to
Yep,
say no to that when you might be doing $1 million in revenue a year for a lot more
correct.
work. It's tough to
Yep.
walk away from that, which is unfortunate, but business is business, right?
Yep, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that most of the bowlers should be seeing is that those centers that are still around and surviving, they're doing more work within their center to make it attractive enough for you to come back.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions I think you wanted me to kind of answer would be what are proprietors doing today to be
Mm-hmm.
successful? And I think that's the number one thing is reinvesting into the business, getting new carpet on the concourse, new tile in the settee area, new scoring systems, new masking units, just a color paint job, if you will. Add on a game room, add on another ancillary project. Beach volleyball is starting to get kind of big up here in Michigan.
Mm. Yeah.
But the arcade room is probably the number one element to where a proprietor can generate some extra cash above
Mm-hmm.
and beyond the league structure base. And I think we're all doing very well still to this day with open bowling. We've benefited, I think, from COVID once we were open. But here in Michigan, we were the second longest state that was closed behind
Mm-hmm.
California. So it was quite a struggle. We lost a handful during that event. But those that have made it through are happy with the results. We're
Mm-hmm.
all seeing numbers above 2019 numbers. So that's been a
Right.
good sign. Mhm.